The moon of Krillers was not a world of light. It was cold, broken. Its skies were always gray, covered by thick ash clouds from the many battles that had burned the surface again and again. On a high cliff, under a cracked steel dome, High Scholar Neron stood alone. His 4 hands trembled as he activated the old signal tower one more time. The machine was rusted, its core crystals glowing faintly. He stared at the console. "Come on," he whispered. "Work, please, work." Behind him, the heavy doors opened. A younger female, Scout Lorana, entered with tired steps. Her blue skin was covered in dust and cuts. "They've taken the eastern bunker," she said quietly. "There's nothing left. No more soldiers, no more power cells. Just us." Scholar Neron did not turn around. "Then this is our last chance." The galaxy had forgotten the United Kin once, a proud group of 13 alien races who had stood together against the Empire of Kor. But time broke alliances, and fear destroyed courage. When the war began, they had stood firm. Now only the Krylons remained. For over 6 years they had sent signals, cries for help, warnings, offers of alliance, but all messages vanished into silence. No answer came, only death followed. Tapped the final command. The beacon activated. A soft, pulsing hum echoed through the ancient tower. The signal spread into the stars stronger than ever before. It carried only one message, translated into every known galactic language. "We are the last of the kin. We fight the Empire of Kor. If there is anyone at all who still believes in freedom, help us. We will stand with you. We will die with you if needed. But please don't let us die alone." Days passed, then weeks, then months. No reply. The skies above Krillers remained empty. Scout ships were gone. Food was running low. Even the war-hardened soldiers stopped speaking. They sat in quiet circles, waiting for the Empire's final blow. Many had lost hope. Even Lorana, once fierce and full of fire, now stared at the gray sky with hollow eyes. But then the sky changed. One quiet morning, the clouds above the mountain split. A long, thin line of silver appeared in the sky. At first, it was mistaken for a falling satellite, but it didn't fall. It hovered, and then more came. Ships, dozens of them, large, dark, and silent. They moved in formation like blades in the sky, not like anything Krylons had seen before. The central ship, black as void, glowed with a red mark, UE-1 Vengeance. From the command center, Lorana ran to Nerun. "Something's coming, but it's not Kor." On the mountainside, guards pointed their rusted rifles at the sky. Some cried, some dropped their weapons. No one knew what was happening. The ships didn't fire, didn't speak, until one voice broke through the old base's comms. "Krillers, we received your message. This is Commander Rex Vance of the United Earth Defense Fleet. You asked for allies. You got Deathworlders." Confusion and fear. The council gathered in the ruined hall of the last Kurlan base. Only 6 members remained. Neron sat at the head, his face pale. "Earth," he whispered. "That planet is a death world, toxic, violent, unstable." Lorana nodded. "I studied them in xenology class. No other planet has such wild weather, such dangerous beasts, or such extreme evolution. Even their cities are war zones. They sent a fleet." General Softal, an elder with one cybernetic leg, shook his head. "No diplomats, no medics, just warships." Moments later, a human shuttle landed at the central plaza. It was shaped like a shark, matte black, covered in armor. When its ramp opened, 4 humans stepped out. All wore heavy body armor, their eyes covered by dark visors. Their movements were calm, controlled predator-like. The leader removed his helmet, a middle-aged man with sharp eyes, dark skin, and short gray hair. "I'm Commander Rex Vance," he said simply. No bow, no smile, just words. Behind him stood Dr. Yuna Halloran, slender, quiet, scanning everything with a handheld device. Private Briggs, young, scarred, fingers twitching near his weapon. Sergeant Kane, tall, silent, and completely unreadable. Neron stepped forward. "Why did you come?" Rex looked at the shattered buildings, the scared people, the ash sky. "You asked for help," he said. "We answered, but why warships? We expected doctors, aid workers." Vance's voice was calm. "Your enemy is not a disease. It is not hunger. It is war. You don't send bandages to stop a blade." Lorana stepped forward. "What do you want in return?" Commander Vance looked her in the eyes. "Nothing, except this. Tell us where to strike." The truth behind Earth at night. Lorana sat with Dr. Halloran beside a campfire near the landing zone. "You're not like the others," she said. "You smile." Halloran chuckled. "I'm a scientist, not a soldier, But I grew up on Earth. I've seen death up close. Lorana asked, why would a planet like yours help strangers? Halloran grew quiet. We were like you. Once, long ago, we cried out for help. No one came. So we learned to help ourselves. She looked toward the sky, where the black ships floated like silent guardians. And now we help others the only way we know how. The test of strength the next day, a group of younger Curilan fighters approached the humans. One of them, angry and proud, challenged Private Briggs. You're just another conqueror, he spat. Show me your strength. Briggs didn't reply. He removed his jacket, walked into the sparring circle. In under 10 seconds, the Curilan fighter lay on the ground, gasping for breath, completely defeated. Briggs didn't even break a sweat. He offered a hand to his opponent. Don't confuse mercy with weakness. The Krylans watched in silence. That was no bluff. Humans were built to survive pain, fight monsters, end wars. The final message in Euron stood beside Vance inside the command center. We've fought for 7 years, he said. We've lost families, cities, entire oceans. What chance do you think you have where we failed? Vance activated. A hologram showing Earth's history, images of burning cities, world wars, pandemics, extinction-level threats. And yet, every time, they survived. Because we're from Earth, he said. We don't surrender. Neruin's voice shook. You're not allies. You're monsters. No, said Vance. We're what happens when monsters come knocking and someone finally answers. Final scene, cliffhanger. Sudden alert filled the comms. One of Corps' patrol ships had entered the system, just one. The humans didn't. Panic. Commander Vance simply turned to his crew. Target it. Remove it. Seconds later, from orbit, one human dreadnought fired a single rod of kinetic energy. No sound, no explosion, just a beam of force moving faster than sound. The enemy ship vanished in an instant, not destroyed, erased. Lorana gasped. That wasn't a weapon, that was a message. Commander Vance looked down at Krillus and spoke his final line for the day. The Deathworlders have arrived. The war ends now. For the first time in years, the sky above Krillus was not empty. It was filled with Earth ships, stark, silent, powerful. They did not sing, they did not shine. They hovered like predators waiting to strike. Inside the mountain bunker, the alien leaders gathered again. Their faces were marked by fear and confusion. They still did not know if these humans were saviors or something worse. They didn't come to talk, said General Softel. They came to fight. What does that say about them? Nerin, the High Scholar, answered quietly. Maybe ... It says they are what we needed. Inside the human command ship, US Vengeance, the human flagship, was nothing like the Krylans had ever seen. It was clean, sharp-edged, built like a fortress in space. The walls hummed with quiet energy, and the air inside smelled of oil and steel. Commander Rex Vance stood at the center of the bridge. His eyes scanned the holographic maps that showed the nearby core patrol zones. Beside him stood 3 others. Dr. Yuna Halloran, scanning alien DNA records and atmospheric data. Sergeant Kane.com and Silent, monitoring troop readiness. Private Briggs, checking his pulse rifle with a small grin. Hope they send something bigger this time, he muttered. Commander Vance turned. We're not here to test our weapons. We're here to end a war. Briggs gave a casual nod. Ending things is my specialty. The Curilan visit soon. A small group of Curilan leaders arrived aboard the Vengeance. They were nervous but curious. Lorana, the young scout, walked beside them. Her eyes were wide with shock. This ship, she whispered, it feels alive. Commander Vance welcomed them with a simple gesture. We are ready to talk. Neron stepped forward. You are from Earth, a Deathworld. Why would your kind come here? Vance replied calmly. Because we heard your message. And because we don't let tyrants decide who lives and dies. The room fell silent. Then General Softel asked, if this is true, then show us your army. Vance nodded. Very well. The Deathworlders revealed the Krylans were taken to the ship's lower levels, massive bays filled with troops, vehicles, and machines that shook the ground as they moved. Rows of soldiers marched in perfect silence, dressed in black armor, faces hidden behind smart visors. Their weapons looked far too advanced: plasma rail rifles, shock cannons, gravity bombs. But more than weapons, the Krylans saw something that truly scared them: calmness. These warriors were not shouting, not angry, not scared. They were simply ready, as if war was their natural state. Lorana turned to Dr. Halloran. They don't fear death. Halloran looked back with a soft voice. They've made peace with it. Briggs and the rookie fighters. Later that day, a group of young Krylan fighters tried to speak with one of the humans. Private Briggs He was sitting alone on a steel crate, cleaning his rifle and humming a song from Earth. One Krylon named Vel asked, "Are you all killers?" Briggs looked up. "I'm not a killer. I'm a soldier. What's the difference?" Briggs stood and stretched. "A killer takes life for power. A soldier risks life to protect others." Vel didn't believe him. "You look like you enjoy war." Briggs smiled sadly. "I enjoy ending wars." Inside the mind of Commander Vance that night, alone in his quarters, Commander Vance stared at an old photo, his daughter, his wife, both lost to the core attack on Earth's first colony. This war was personal, but he couldn't let that show. He recorded a message for Earth High Command. "We've arrived. The Krylons are broken but not beyond repair. The enemy has grown arrogant. We have the element of surprise. But these people need more than weapons. They need hope. If we win this, maybe the galaxy changes forever." He ended the log and stared at the stars. Plans for the first strike inside the war room. The humans showed the Krylons the battle map. Sergeant Kane pointed at a blinking red star. "This is Outpost 17B, a fuel depot for the Empire of Core. You say they store plasma cores there?" General Softel nodded. "Yes, heavily guarded." Kane's voice was cold. "Good, then we destroy it." The Krylons gasped. "You can't. We've lost entire fleets trying that." Commander Vance smiled faintly. "You lost fleets. We're sending 2 ships and a drone swarm," Lorana whispered. "What kind of power do you wield?" Dr. Halloran answered. "The kind that makes tyrants run." The Corps learned the name Earth. Meanwhile, on a distant Corps warship, Admiral Zune reviewed the reports. One of his officers ran in, pale and breathless. "Sir, one of our patrols was destroyed. Instantly, no warning, no signal." Zune raised an eyebrow. "By what?" The officer showed the data. "Unknown vessels. Stealth technology. No known signature." Another officer added, "They called themselves Deathworlders from a planet named Earth." Zune frowned. "Deathworlders? I've never heard of Earth." He stood up and walked to the window, staring into space. "Then find it," he said, "and burn it." Nightfall and doubts that night. Lorana sat by the old statue of Krilla's first leader. She looked up and saw a line of human ships blinking, softly in orbit. Still, she wondered, were they truly friends, or another kind of conqueror? Dr. Halloran sat beside her, quietly sipping from a bottle of purified water. "You don't trust us," she said. Lorana shook her head. "Your power is terrifying," Halloran nodded. "It should be. That's how we survived. Earth teaches one lesson: adapt or die. But can you build? Can you love, or just fight?" Halloran smiled. "We love fiercely. That's why we fight so hard." Cliffhanger. The countdown begins. Commander Vance stood before the human soldiers the next morning. His voice echoed through the halls. "Tomorrow we strike. Not just to win a battle, but to send a message." He turned toward the map of core-controlled space. "They thought they could silence the weak. They forgot about Earth." He raised his hand. "One strike, one blow, one moment to show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do." The soldiers raised their fists. Lorana watched from the edge of the platform. For the first time since the war began, she felt something strange: hope. The air was tense aboard the Vengeance. Soldiers moved with silent purpose. Drones buzzed in underground hangars. Energy cores hummed as weapons charged for battle. But inside the war room, it wasn't weapons that held everyone's attention. It was the map. The galactic map hovered in mid-air, created by hard light and human tech. Dozens of stars, trade routes, and political zones blinked in different colors. Commander Rex Vance stood with his arms crossed. His face was hard, cold, focused. Behind him, Dr. Una Halloran translated the latest scans from Chiroline intelligence. "The Empire of Core controls 41% of the known systems," she said quietly. "And they didn't do it alone." Lee Rana, the young Curalon scout, stepped closer. "What do you mean?" Una didn't speak. She pointed to the map. Suddenly, 12 empires and civilizations lit up, each one once a friend of the Krylons, your old allies, she said. "They didn't vanish, they switched sides." The betrayal. Revelard Noon, the high scholar of Krilla's, stared at the map with disbelief. His forehands trembled. "That can't be true. The Tavari promised to defend us. The Solan Pact was signed in blood." Halloran replied gently. "They broke those promises when the Corps showed up with fleets 10 times bigger than theirs." General Softor growled. "Cowards, all of them." But Commander Vance's voice was calm, measured. "No, not cowards, survivors." Everyone turned to him. "You fought for hope," Vance said. "They fought for survival when the enemy is bigger, stronger, and faster." "Many will kneel to live one more day," Lorana whispered. "But that means we were fools. Vance turned and looked her in the eye. No, he said. It means you still had honor. Earth's view of loyalty. Later that evening, Lorana walked beside Dr. Halloran in the garden chamber of the Vengeance, a small green room with artificial soil and earth plants growing under glowing lights. I don't understand you, she said. You humans fight for us, but we're strangers. What's your gain? Halloran smiled and plucked a leaf from a tomato plant. We come from a world where everything tried to kill you as storms, beasts, other humans. She looked at Lorana, learned that survival isn't enough. Loyalty matters. It's the only thing that keeps us from becoming monsters. Lorana's voice cracked. Then what do we do with our old friends? The ones who betrayed us. Halloran paused. You forgive them, or you bury them. That's the Deathworld way. Flashback. Earth's first betrayer. Later that night, Commander Vance recorded a personal log. The camera watched him from across his desk. Krillus reminds me of our own colonies during the first expansion war. When Earth sent settlers beyond the Sol system, we asked for help from the Galactic Core. No one came. They thought we were too wild, too dangerous. But now they're sending spies to watch us, to beg for alliances. Funny, isn't it? The same people who once turned their backs on Earth now want to be protected by it. The galaxy betrayed the Krylons, but this time, Earth is watching. He shut the recorder off. The message from the Empire the next morning, an alert echoed through the bridge. Incoming transmission from the Empire of Core, said Sergeant Kane. The crew fell silent. Commander Vance nodded. Put it through. A dark, distorted face appeared, a Core Admiral named Velzak Tharn, half covered in gold armor, his eyes glowing red. You are far from your world, Deathworlders, he said in a deep voice. You know nothing of this war. Turn around, leave, or be destroyed. Vance didn't blink. You had a chance to talk when the kin sent their first message. You answered with fire. Velzak grinned. We offer peace now. Walk away. Vance stepped forward. Tell your Emperor, he said coldly. Earth doesn't walk away. Velzak's smile faded. The transmission ended, preparing the strike inside the hangars. The Deathworlders were ready. Dozens of orbital drones, stealth bombers, and troop transports were being prepped. The target, Outpost 17B, a critical plasma depot in Core territory. Lorana watched in awe as Private Briggs led a unit of humans with speed and discipline she had never seen before. No one shouted. Number 1 panicked. Each movement was precise. Briggs grinned as he passed her. First time watching a real army. She nodded. He leaned in. You'll never forget what comes next. The other side, the former Alazine, another part of the galaxy, aboard the capital ship of the Tavari Republic. President Halleck of Tavari sat watching a silent news stream. The broadcast showed a single frame. A Core battleship split in two by a kinetic strike from Earth. Behind him, an aide whispered, the humans destroyed it in one hit. They single quotes read ... Too dangerous. Halleck rubbed his forehead. We made a deal with Core, but now Earth is in the game. The aide asked, should we open talks with Earth? Halleck's reply was soft. It's too late. They already know we betrayed the kin. Back on Krillus' final briefing, Commander Vance stood before the gathered Krylan leaders. This is your last chance to back out, he said. Once we hit that depot, there's no turning back. General Sovtol stood firm. We ride with you. Lorana stepped forward. You may be Deathworlders, but I've never trusted anyone more. Nerun nodded. We were betrayed before. We won't betray you. Vance nodded once. Then let's show them what happens when the Forgotten fight back. Cliffhanger. The broken line as the fleet prepared to jump into core space. An urgent signal came in. Dr. Halloran looked up from her screen. Sir, we just detected 3 Tavari ships entering orbit above Krillus. Everyone turned. Friends? Briggs asked. Halloran shook her head. No, they're not broadcasting friendly codes. A new voice entered the Kumzar. Tavari Captain, Krillus is under Empire protection. Lower your weapons and surrender your human guests. Commander Vance's eyes narrowed. Looks like we just found another traitor. He raised his hand. All guns target those ships. The countdown had started. Inside the massive command center aboard the UES Vengeance, red lights flashed as the human fleet prepared for their first full strike against the Empire of Core. Commander X Vance stood at the front of the war table. Target locked, said Sergeant Kane. Outpost 17B is 14 light minutes from our current location. Behind them, rows of soldiers loaded into gunships. Drones came to life, their eyes glowing like fireflies. The entire ship felt like a living weapon waiting to be unleashed. The Krylan leaders stood on a raised platform, watching with awe and fear. Lorana turned to Nerun and whispered, we're about to see what Earth's fury really looks like. Core Empire's fuel depot, Outpost 17 BFA, across space. On a dark rocky moon, Outpost 17B was buzzing with activity. Massive towers loaded with plasma fuel stretched into the sky. Core engineers worked like ants, unaware of the storm coming. Their way suddenly, sirens screamed, an officer ran into the control room. Unidentified energy signatures detected. Multiple warp tunnels opening. The Core commander narrowed his eyes. Who dares strike here? But it was too late. The sky split open and from the void came a fleet of black Earth warships. The strike begins. The first to enter was a stealth cruiser called Phantom Edge. It deployed Swarm Class X drones, thousands of them, each the size of a dinner plate, each armed with laser cutters and explosive tips. The drones moved like a cloud of steel bees. Core air defense guns tried to fire, but the drones were too fast. Within seconds, the main defense turrets were torn apart. Then came the kinetic strike. From orbit, the UES Titan dropped a metal rod, just a rod. No bomb, no fuel. But when it hit the ground moving at terminal speed, crushed a tower flat and sent a shockwave across the moon, Lorana, watching from the war room, gasped. They use gravity as a weapon. On the ground, Briggs and the drop to meanwhile, Private Briggs led a squad of human soldiers in drop pods. Each pod screamed through the atmosphere, glowing red-hot from re-entry. When they hit the surface, the doors burst open and the dead poured out. Their suits were black, their visors glowing blue. Silent, deadly, efficient. Briggs raised his rifle. Squad Alpha, secure the core, leave nothing standing. Core soldiers opened fire, but human armor absorbed the shots like rain. The humans didn't slow. They advanced like machines shooting, with perfect aim, covering each other, planting charges, clearing bunkers. The Empire watchers in fear back on a Core command ship. Admiral Zune watched the battlefield. His face turned pale. They destroyed our anti-orbital defenses in 37 seconds. His tech officer said. Zune stared at the screen. What kind of monsters are these humans? Another voice spoke. They don't fight like us. Zune turned. One of his senior officers whispered. They don't fight at all. They just end things. Human strategy. Shock and silence inside the Vengeance. Commander Vance gave short, clear orders. Phase 2, shutdown comes. Burn their data, wipe the map. Seconds later, Earth AI systems hacked into Core's communication grid. Satellites were blinded. Navigation towers exploded. Data cores melted. In one strike, Earth didn't just destroy a base, they erased it from the galaxy's network. Cure Island General Sovdal whispered, "We tried to win with honor. Earth fights with precision." Dr. Halloran nodded. War isn't about pride, it's about survival. An unlikely rescue. While clearing the west wing of the depot, Briggs's squad found something strange, a cage. Inside it, 6 alien prisoners, a species long thought extinct by the Core purge. Briggs opened the door and passed them rations. One of the Ovani, weak and injured, asked, "Why help us?" Briggs looked him in the eye. Because Earth doesn't forget what it's like to be caged. The message to the galaxy before retreating. Earth forces left behind one thing, a message tower. It activated with a single line, broadcast on all open frequencies. This is Earth. We heard the cries of the broken. We are not your kings. We are not your gods. We are your answer. The time of empires is over. Back on Krilla's Victory echoes. The human fleet returned after the strike. Not a single Earth ship was lost. Commander Vance stepped off the shuttle. Lorana ran to him. "You did it?" she whispered. "No," he said. "We started it." Tavari response. A failed betrayal. Meanwhile, in orbit above Krillis, the 3 Tavari ships that demanded Earth's surrender were now in trouble. They had aimed their weapons at the surface, but before they could fire, Earth's orbital defense grid locked onto them. "Sir," Kane said from the Vengeance. "Shall we engage?" Commander Vance spoke coldly. "Send them a warning shot. Close, loud." One human ship fired a beam past the Tavari cruiser's nose. It didn't hit, but it melted 2 of their outer panels. A pause. Then the Tavara ships turned and ran. Naren watched from the base and said, "So that's how you deal with betrayal?" Vance replied, "We don't play politics. We end threats." Cliffhanger. Empire's new plan. Deep inside the Core capital, Emperor Kael'vor received the report. Outpost 17B destroyed. Over 400 personnel gone. Message from Earth received. The Emperor turned to his council. Earth was supposed to be primitive. Why are they this strong? One Core general replied, "Because we misread the map. Earth isn't a backwater, it's a monster cage." Kael'vor stood. "Then we unleash a monster of our own." He pressed a button. From the darkness below the palace, a door opened. Inside it, something ancient, massive, and long forgotten moved. The Deathworlders had fired first, now the Empire would fire back, with something the galaxy feared even more, a weapon born from Earth's past. The Empire of Kor had ruled the stars for centuries, worlds burned under its flag, civilizations knelt before its armies. Resistance was rare and always crushed. But this time, something was different. A death world had struck first. And it had, the destruction of Outpost 17B echoed across the galaxy like a thunderclap. Entire star systems went silent. Trade routes closed. Even core loyalists began whispering about Earth. On the Empire's capital world, the sky remained black, thick with smog and silence. Inside the War Palace, Emperor Kael Vor stood on a metal balcony, watching the smoke rise from the city below. Earth, he whispered, a forgotten world, and now a fire. The Chamber of Lords, the core military council, gathered in a circle of flame-lit steel. The most feared warlords and admirals in the galaxy sat quietly. None dared speak first, until Admiral Velzak stepped forward. We underestimated them, he said. They use gravity weapons, drone storms, and silent warfare. They fight without honor. General Azure growled. They're Deathworlders. Of course they don't care about honor. Kael Vor raised a hand. Enough. He turned slowly, his eyes glowing a soft red. They don't need honor. They have results. A map of known space appeared, showing a black ripple spreading outward from Earth's attack. Fear spreads faster than plasma. The weapon that shouldn't exist. Kael Vor walked alone down a forgotten hallway beneath the palace. The doors opened only to his DNA. Even his guards stayed behind. At the end of the corridor was a sealed vault. Inside it, a coffin-shaped chamber, pulsing with red light. He placed his hand on the scanner. The coffin hissed open. Inside lay a being not core, not alien but human. Muscles enhanced with bones reinforced with titanium, eyes removed, replaced with red scanners. Its chest rose slowly. Unit 7A, Vor said. Your creators abandoned you, but we kept you alive. The creature responded in a voice deeper than any machine. Orders: find Earth's fleet, Vor said, and break them. Back on Krillus, uneasy silence after the strike on Outpost 17B. Things grew quiet, too quiet. The skies were still. No enemy ships, no messages, no attacks. Lorana walked through the newly repaired Krylon base. The air smelled better. The ground no longer shook. Some children laughed for the first time in years. But she couldn't relax. This peace doesn't feel right, she told Dr. Halloran. Halloran nodded. That's because it's not peace. It's the calm before the storm. A dark signal. The vengeance, an alert, came through short, sharp, encrypted. Sergeant Kane looked up. Sir, we just picked up a core signal, hidden under old Earth War codes. Vance turned to Dr. Halloran, translated. She worked fast. The result made the room go silent. You created them. You left them behind. Now they come for you. He wakes, he remembers, he hunts. Unit 7A, active commander. Vance's face changed. Impossible. That program was destroyed, Halloran whispered. Not destroyed. Buried. Flashback. Earth's ago. Before the Galactic Council ever noticed Earth, a top-secret military project had gone wrong. Earth's scientists tried to create the perfect soldier, stronger, smarter, unbreakable. But the program failed. The soldiers were too aggressive, too unstable. They couldn't be controlled. One by one, they were shut down. Except for Unit 7A, which vanished during a transfer to deep space. Now, somehow, the Corps had found him. First contact. The Reaper, on the edge of a gas planet called Dralos 6. A human scout ship went silent. The Vengeance sent a drone to check. What it found was worse than death. The ship wasn't destroyed. It was empty. Bodies gone. Walls cut open. Blood on every panel. At the center of the bridge, scratched into the metal in perfect Earth standard. Hello, Father. Vance stared at the footage. He remembers me. The trap is set. Vance gathered his command team. This isn't a normal threat. He knows our tech, he knows our tactics. He was trained by Earth, but twisted by Core. Briggs asked, so what do we do? Vance looked at the map. We set a trap. We bait him with something he wants us. He looked at Kane. Broadcast our position. Loud. Let the Empire hear us. Inside the Core Empire, a mistake is made. Sevener stood alone in a black chamber aboard the Core dreadship Varnak. The Core scientists tried to speak to him, control him, but he didn't follow orders. He didn't blink, he didn't speak again. He simply pointed to a star, Mapand 1 red. Planet.Earth. The Core commanders started to worry. What if we cannot control him? One whispered. Another replied, then we'll aim him at Earth, and hope it's enough. Lorana's fear grows as the trap was set. Lorana approached Vance. You trained this creature, this monster. Vance nodded slowly. He was once human, now ... I'm not sure why didn't Earth destroy him before. Vance's eyes darkened. We tried. Cliffhanger, he's already here as the Earth fleet waited in ambush near a dead moon. All systems scanned for movement. Hours passed, then nothing. No warp signal, no ship. But inside the Vengeance, lights flickered. The temperature dropped then. A scream from the lower deck. Security rushed in. One guard lay on the ground. His chest was open, heart gone, on the wall smeared in blood. I'm home. Commander Vance's voice was grim. He didn't take the bait. He was already inside. The ship that had crushed a core fuel outpost. The ship that silenced trader fleets in orbit. The ship feared by the Empire now had a monster on board, inside the UES Vengeance. Alarms screamed. Commander Rex Vance stood still, watching the bloodied wall where the message had been written. I'm home. His voice was low. Seal all decks. Activate thermal sweeps. Kill the lights on deck 7. Sir? Asked Sergeant Kane. Vance didn't repeat himself. The lights dropped. The ship went dark except for emergency glows and tracking monitors. Hunter was now the hunted. The monster within Unit 7A. The lost weapon of Earth moved through the halls like a ghost. It was once human, but now no breath, no heartbeat, a skeleton of steel and muscle. His skin was pale, his arms reinforced with cybernetic muscles. Red glowing eyes saw in every spectrum heat, light, sound, magnetic fields. He remembered the ship. He remembered Rex Vance. And he remembered what they did to him. Flashback. Earth's forgotten sin 27 years ago. Earth faced a new kind of war, one fought in space, underground, and through shadows. Earth's enemies used biology, gene bombs, cloning. So Earth responded with Project Reaper. Children born in secret labs, grown fast, trained to kill. Fed information instead of food. No families, no names, just numbers. Unit 7A was the most successful, smartest, fastest, strongest. Until he asked a question. Why am I alive? No one answered. So he rebelled. Earth shut down the project, burned every file, erased every record. But Savannah didn't die. He escaped. And now he was back. Inside the war room on the bridge, Lorana and Halloran watched the security feeds one by one going dark. He's cutting power manually, Halloran said. He knows our systems. General Sovdal stood at the window. Why is he doing this? You're not his enemy anymore. No, Vance said. But we left him behind. And now he's here to remind us. Lorana whispered. Can you stop him? Vance didn't answer. Briggs in the dark. Briggs and 2 Marines moved down deck 7, rifles ready. The hallway was quiet. No lights. Just the sound of breathing and boots. Then movement. One of the Marines turned to speak. His head disappeared. Not shot. Ripped off. Briggs fired wildly, screaming. The second soldier fell. Chest caved in, then silence. Briggs crawled backward, bleeding eyes wide. A shape stood above him, tall, eyeless, glowing red. Savannah leaned down. You're not him. Then he vanished into the shadows, a deal with death hours later, with 5 more crew members dead. Vance did something no one expected. He opened the airlock doors to deck 9 and stepped in alone. He wasn't armed. He wasn't scared. He stood still in the dark. I know you're listening, he said. Come out. From the shadows, 7A emerged, quiet, calm, like death itself. You made me, the thing said. I didn't, Vance replied, but I let them. Silence. Then 7A said, they erased me. Vance stepped forward. Not anymore. He tossed a small disc onto the floor. A projection appeared. Files, photos, logs, all of 7A's past, his life, his origin, his pain, truth, hurts. 7A stared at the images. His training as a child, his body sliced open. Scientists watching from behind glass. No names, he whispered. No faces. Vance said softly, your name was Adrian. The monster paused, then turned away. Names don't bring back the dead. New purpose. Vance didn't move. You were a weapon once. So was Earth. But now we both have a choice. Savannah turned his head slightly. You want me to fight with you? No, said Vance. I want you to fight for yourself. Core spies react far away. Inside a core observation ship. A signal came in. Unit 7A had made contact with Earth Command. The Cortex panicked. He's not following the hunt. He's hesitating, their commander growled. Send the kill order. But it was too late. The signal didn't reach him, because 7A had already cut them off. He wasn't Core's puppet. He wasn't Earth's tool. He was Adrian now. Change in the wind the next morning. Lorana saw something strange, a new symbol painted. On the walls of Deck 7, a single red line, slashed through Earth's flag and Core's emblem. What does it mean? She asked. Dr. Halloran answered. It means we may have just created something new, a new weapon, or a new ally. In the war chamber, Vance stood beside 7A now in clean armor. Though his eyes still burned red, Sovtor barked. You trust this thing, Vance replied. He's not a thing. He's a reminder. Lorana asked. Of what? Vance answered, that Earth's greatest enemy was never out there. It was what we tried to become. The skies above Earth were breaking. The core dark spiral bomb had been armed, its gravitational pulse spreading like black waves through orbit. If it went off, it would not just destroy Earth's defense grid, it would rip the planet from space. Earth would fall into its own sun. Commander Rex Vance, on the Vengeance, stared at the numbers. 7 minutes until detonation. Dr. Una Halloran whispered, There's no override code. It's ancient tech burned into the core ships. General, Sovtor growled, then someone must stop it manually. Everyone went quiet, because someone had already gone. Adrian. Inside the core ship Adrian once Unit 7A. Now neither man nor machine moved through the belly of the core activation cruiser. He bled from his arms, legs, and side, but he didn't. Stop lasers cut into the walls. Core guards fired in panic. None survived. Adrian's eyes were fixed on one thing, the core room. Behind its doors, the dark spiral bomb pulsed. The activation sequence echoed through the ship. 5352, 501. He reached the door, then stopped. Kael Vor stood waiting inside. Final confrontation. The Emperor of Core didn't wear a crown. He wore armor of burning light. His face was scarred, his eyes dark and full of rage. You, he said to Adrian, the failed tool. You, Adrian said, the forgotten tyrant. Vor raised his blade, a plasma edge 2 meters long. You'll never make it to the core. Adrian didn't flinch. I'm already inside it. They charged. Earth holds the line while Adrian fought alone. Earth held back the rest of the core fleet. The Generation Titans took heavy damage. Thunderwake lost a tower. Hellfire had half its reactors offline, but still they fought. Fighters buzzed like hornets. Lasers danced across space. Kruralon ships flanked the enemy. Even the betrayed Tavari, now seeing Earth's strength, sent back up. Lorana watched it all unfold. They came. For us, Vance nodded. Not for politics, not for power, for people. The final minutes inside the core ship. Adrian fought like a storm. Kael Vor struck fast, but Adrian was faster. Flesh burned, metal clashed, bones shattered. Finally, Adrian grabbed Vor's arm and slammed it into the core wall. This war, he growled, and you built me. He's leaned Vor through the bomb panel. The core began to spark. Adrian looked at the controls. Only one option left, manual override. One code, one user. It would need to burn the neural net of whoever accessed it. Death-certain. The final message from his chestplate. Adrian opened a transmission. The signal reached the Vengeance. Commander Vance, Adrian said. Vance froze. Adrian, what are you doing? Adrian looked tired now. This ends now. Not with another fleet, not with another war, but with a man who was never meant to exist. Halloran's voice shook. Adrian, there may be another way. I am the way, he said. He smiled. For the first time then entered the override code. The explosion. That didn't happen on the battlefield. Earth's ships braced for death, but instead of light came silence. The dark spiral core faded. The pulse collapsed inward, one by one. Core ships shut down, command signals broken. On the core flagship systems, failed. Screens went black. Admiral Tharn screamed, Where is the Emperor? But Kael Vor was gone. Aftermath. 2 hours later, Earth's fleet cleared orbit. The core armada was shattered, leaderless, directionless. A message was sent to every remaining core ship. The war is over. Go home. None refused. Adrian's legacy. The core ship was gone. Adrian's body was never found. Some say he burned with the system. Others say he was pulled into the rift. A few believe he survived. No one really knows. But on Earth, in a quiet garden near the capital, a statue was built. It held no weapon, no armor. Just a name carved into steel. Adrian, born in silence, died for everyone. Lorana's final words back on Krillers. The people rebuilt. The children returned to schools. The skies were safe again. Lorana stood before her people. We once waited for allies, she said, but allies didn't come. She looked toward the stars. Deathworlders did. They didn't come to save us. They came to stand beside us. Final scene. A new future in Earth orbit. Commander Vance looked down at the blue planet. Beside him stood Lorana, Dr. Halloran, Sovtel, and others. "We won," Halloran whispered. Vance replied, "No, we began." The screen faded too. Black dot words appeared in silence. They awaited allies. But Deathworlders brought a war fleet, and with it peace. The stars above Earth were quiet, peaceful. For decades, the planet had focused on building, healing, and growing beyond its war-filled past. Cities rose like glass towers. Oceans shimmered with light. Children played without fear under artificial moons. But now, the fire was coming back. And this time, it wasn't Earth that started it. The Empire moves in the cold dark of deep space. The core Grand Armada slipped out of warp. Hundreds of warships, dreadnoughts shaped like blades, fighters, glowing blue with plasma. They didn't send a warning. They didn't open talks. They simply appeared just outside Earth's outer defense ring. On board the core command ship, Emperor Kael'vor stared at the blue and green planet on his screen. "It looks small," he said. Admiral Tharn nodded. "Like every world we've burned." Kael'vor smiled darkly. "Then burn this one brighter." Earth's first response inside High Command Earth. Alarms exploded across the capital. Screens lit up with red. Core fleet detected Sector Alpha 0. Enemy within planetary approach range DEFCON 1. Planetary shield activation authorized. President Maria Chen stood at the main table, surrounded by generals, scientists, and diplomats. "They've come to test us," she said coldly. "Let's show them Earth doesn't take tests. We give them global activation across Earth." The world reacted. In New York, plasma cannons rose from hidden vaults and skyscrapers. In Nairobi, spaceports turned into launch sites. In Antarctica, ancient bunkers awakened. Systems not used in 40 years came online. Above Japan, Orbital Shield Array 3 hummed to life. From orbit, Earth's defense grid formed a glowing web of red and gold ready to strike. On the Vengeance, Panic, and Pressure Commander Rex Vance slammed his fist onto the war table. "They're skipping Krillers, going straight for the throat." Dr. Halloran said softly, "They don't want to defeat Earth, they want to break its soul." Lorana looked up. "How many ships can Earth send?" Vance turned to her. "All of them." Adrian's choice in the dark hangar, Unit 7A. Quietly, his eyes, once red with rage, now burned with focus. "You going to Earth?" Briggs asked, checking his rifle. Adrian nodded. Double quotes. "They created you," Briggs said. "Might be fitting if you help save them." Adrian replied in a deep voice. "Not save. Balance." Briggs paused. "Balance what?" "Pain," Adrian said. "Mine, theirs, the galaxy. Earth's first casualty is Earth, prepared for war." The core armada launched its first attack. A moon colony, called Caspra 1, was struck by plasma bombardment. Over 900 civilians dead in minutes. Kael'vor watched the destruction and said, "We will show them that death has no heroes." But Earth was already responding. The Black Line wakes deep under Earth's crust. In a sealed base known only as Black Line, 10 ships came to life. These were not normal ships. These were Generation Titans vessels so large they had cities inside them, powered by suns. Armed with planet burners, one ship U.S. Hellfire was captained by a woman with one eye and a steel spine. Admiral L.R. Greaves. Her words as the engines roared, "They want war, then we'll teach them what Deathworld war really means." The battle begins. The skies over Earth turned black dot from the clouds. Thousands of human ships burst upward, fighters, cruisers, missile swarms in orbit. The core armada opened fire. The battle for Earth had begun. Plasma beams clashed with kinetic missiles. Orbital stations exploded in flashes of white. Fighter pilots screamed through enemy formations. One core dreadnought lost its engines and crashed into the Pacific. Still, the core kept coming. Adrian unleashed while the skies burned. Adrian, now armed and armored, launched from the Vengeance in a sleek, silent dropcraft. He landed directly on the enemy's lead command ship. Alone. In 5 minutes, 30 core soldiers were dead. In 10 minutes, Adrian had reached the bridge. The doors blew open. Admiral Tharn turned on, found himself face to face with the ghost Earth left behind. "You were our tool," Tharn spat. "No," Adrian replied. "I'm your reckoning." Earth's power revealed back on the battlefield. Earth's Generation Titans entered the fray. U.S. Hellfire fired a triple-core rail blast that split a core carrier in half. U.S. Thunderwake used gravity bombs to pull enemy ships into each other. Orbital drones swept through weak points, marking enemy vessels for instant strikes. Lorana watched from the Vengeance with wide eyes. This isn't war," she whispered. Halloran nodded. "It's Earth answering a question, the galaxy. Never dared ask. Kael'vor's last to move on board his flagship. Kael'vor saw his fleet falling. Retreat. One commander asked. Vor laughed bitterly. Retreat. He whispered, I've burned 100 worlds. I will not run from one. He turned to the AI control core. Activate Dark Spiral. Cliffhanger. Dark Spiral. Suddenly across space. Every core ship lit up with a new signal. Earth's sensors went wild. Vance stared at the feed. What is that? Halloran replied, horrified. It's not a weapon. It's a black hole bomb. Lorana's voice trembled. They're going to collapse Earth's orbit. One last shot. Tadrian, standing on the broken bridge of the core command ship, turned toward Earth. He whispered, I see now. Then jumped into space headed for the core of the bomb activation ship. One man. One chance. One impossible mission.